다 들음 이슈 저집에 나한테도 요래 다 지난주 뒤에 내 남주 generation of 20th century generation of 21st century setting 지난주 뒤에 generation of 21st century 자다 들음 이슈 저집에 뒤 다 로주라 즉 다스 침벌이 봐 다 안데 로망한 대신에 용주래 그냥서 쉬는서 그 모습이 캐치 못다 들은디 뭐네지 디인의 거지가 시디지다 디 시디자 참지셔야 돼 자, 다 그냥서 디디 딘디지기 단 전부디 참지 되버지다 소야기 개요 다 안데 그냥서 로좀 셔야 되기 다디 처지치기 무슨지 엔트만 투지 시작하고 엔티한서 로두스 미세체 그 토야 에네 그거 좀 시작하고 좀 엔트지는 것도 투치시 야다 저거 가요 봐 저치시
결론 얘기는 못 하잖아요. 나 자유로 들었지. 나 지원을 좋아하지. 이나디 나디셰서 나데니 대화시키다가 담고 상로 열시고
다 상로 담고디 다나셔가 있는 로송아 나도 미디리 지 동 입 mental 애니 철로 mental 다 미리 mental 또 미리 mental 최대 mental 그죠 제대가 또 상관로 믿지 벌어 죄송 나는 게 아주 봐봐 세야지마도 현다 상황하다나 아니 정식이 지금 삼는 날이야 현다서도 또 타를 붙여 나가는 지금 난 남거이 숙청부 샤베는 그냥 줄로 현다 지금서다 타를 붙여 아주 믿지 거이 삼는데 정식이 삼는 타냐 우리도 자자가 라 동네 민들고 대한대가 이면 능시 현 상황으로 동네 민들고 대한대가 찍벌 이제 이들산에 미션이 라라야 지금 견주제를 서로 지금 미사바체를 서로 시하는 소수 모티브 유의에 넣으시 내가 밀파 지금 삼마차 서로 미사바체 제가 있는 모티브 유의를 삼을 통해 애니 시한가 지금 그게 시한 밑에 오야지 소수 도매야지 자서 저쪽은 팬다 못하네 내심이지고 내심 동 다시 또르시 that is usually I call universal value, irrespective whether believer or non-believer, or believe this or that. Doesn't matter. So long we are human beings. I think this morning I didn't mention. You see, some scientists carry some investigation. I think those people who understand English, raise hand. Okay. Oh. So, some scientists, out of curiosity, they investigate what is the reaction from infant child to the one picture, one cartoon, two children helping each other, showing affection. When that cartoon show that infant child about 5 months old, 5 to 6 months old, language not yet developed. So when that cartoon show to that child, you see child smiling. I also participated in that meeting, so I saw that sort of that picture, a child showing smiling. Then another cartoon, two children, negative attitude. In the cartoon, you see, two children. One children try to, pushing one ball to, pushing one direction. Another child create opposition. Like that. So that cartoon, when show to that infant child, oh, I saw that picture. So then more important, the constant fear, anger, actually eating our immune system. So then they concluded, basic human nature is more compassionate. So this, I feel, this gives us real hope and confidence. When I heard that, then I felt, yes, basic human nature is more compassionate. So therefore, if we utilize our intelligence, our brain properly, then that nature sort of value can strengthen. Okay. If basic human nature is anger, then no hope. Better long sleep. Just think oneself, nothing. But since human nature is more compassionate, so through education, unfortunately, the existing education system very much oriented about external value. That's a mistake. Existing education, so-called modern education, now time comes, should include education about warm-heartedness, not talking about next life, not talking about heaven or Devajan. Simply, how to create happy human being, healthy body, healthy family, healthy community, through that way, happy humanity. So use our common sense on the basis of our basic nature, compassionate nature. So therefore, see, not only myself, but many educationists, many scientists now really committed to make awareness to different parts of the world, mainly in America. Like that. 강력 가르쳐도. Oh. So it is quite natural when we start learning. Myself, when I start learning, my age 6-7 years old, I have no interest for study. I was very, very lazy student. I think the greatest obstacle is no enthusiasm, because you do not know what's the value of education. So then, when I carry study, you see, my tutor, kept one whip. Whip. My elder brother, myself, we together study. So my elder brother, one normal whip. For me, that holy Dalai Lama. So they whip also yellow whip. So suppose holy whip. But I know if holy whip use, no differences of holy pain, just a pain. Therefore, out of fear, I pay more attention, study. Then gradually, I realize, education is so important, and including education about Buddhist philosophy. So that's, I think, real sort of obstacle. Then, maybe when you pay more attention, little bit stress, sometimes you see physical, get some sort of problem. So then, try to study with relaxation, and not several hours. 1 or 2 hours, pay more attention, serious. Then rest, relax. As Shandadeva mentioned, two Nikol Nesu Chowers. The Shandadeva mentioned, roughly speaking, when serious practice, serious study, when our physical little bit exhausted, then it is very important, need rest. Mentioned like that. Yang chance kashi dinner yang yunguri, well, hair never, lu never, zang never, sir. Easy show money. Next question.
Wish you very, very good evening. I have a question about Buddhism. My question is that inside Buddhism, they have a sect called the School of Buddha. And there they have a little bit construction, something different. You are you are separate, something say that. They have something. Why we should take only one thing, only Buddhism, not Buddhism, only we should call Buddhism, not sect, this. Why? This is important here. I think in higher Buddhism, we should discuss about this thing.
Right. So actually, that's why I emphasize Tibetan Buddhist tradition come from Nalanda. Now say Nyingma from Shandarakshita directly, and to some extent Loben Pema Sambhava. So Shandarakshita, Nalanda master, great philosopher, great logician. His writing still we study. Then Pema Sambhava, not a monk, but among his teacher, like Nagarjuna, one of his main teacher. So both Pema Sambhava and Shandarakshita, you see, they are holder of Nalanda tradition. Then Sakyapa, the Lamdre, they call Lamdre, that special unique teaching of Sakyapa come from Birwaba. Birwaba, when he carried study or he remained in Nalanda monastery, his name is Dharmapala, Nede Chukyung. So, the Sakya tradition come from one of the top sort of master of Nalanda. And then Kagyu mainly come from Marmithasum, Marpa, Miller, Nyami Tapul Haji. So their main teacher, like this teacher Marpa, then Miller Rabba, so Manmi Thasum, Marpa, Mila, Tabolaji, Manmi Thasum. So, Marpa several times visited India to seek Dharma. So I think few, because of the more than, I think, 30, 40, 50 teachers. Main teacher is Naropa. Naropa, the early part of his life, like Birwapa, you see, Nalanda master, study in Nalanda. So at that time, there was some kind of tradition. They almost like defender of Buddhist philosophy, Buddha Dharma. So each gate, top scholar remain as a defender. Some sort of non-Buddhist scholar come, make some challenge. Firstly, you see that scholar at the particular gate discuss. So as a sort of as the first, almost we can say something like first defense line. So Naropa, northern gate of Nalanda, defender of northern gate of Nalanda. So he was top scholar, monk. So, and Kadamba, the Yellowhead sect, originally I'm related with Kadamba. So, the Dibankara, he later, you see, he mainly sort of carried the work at Brikamalashila. But previously, he also joined Nalanda institution study. In any way, all Atisha's teaching come from Nalanda. The Nalanda master, like Nagarjuna, Arya Asanga, Arya Deva, Basubandh, Buddha Palita, and Baba Vega, and Chandrakirti, all these, and Dignath, Dharmakirti, all these Nalanda master. So, therefore, all Tibetan Buddhist tradition, the original, their teacher was Nalanda master. Then, you know, in basic Buddhist teaching, it's something common for everyone. But then sometimes I think if I too much frank, then some people may feel uncomfortable. But frankly speaking, you see, sometimes you see Tibetan, I think, want something very quickly. And as I mentioned earlier, a little bit lazy. So therefore, in many cases, they don't care Buddha's real teaching. They take one manga, Dhamma instruction. Dhamma. One sort of, Kaside, Dhamma, Kasir manga. Ka. Kasir. Ka. Big. Kasa. I don't know. So one particular sort of, what is it, the teaching, specifically aimed one particular individual. Buddha's basic teaching for public, and also like Nagarjuna, Arya Sangha, they are writing for public. So now Tantriyan one specifically, one individual person. So, Tibetan, I think there, you see, there are two sort of categories. One, just emphasis on particular teaching. One, study whole Buddhist teaching, and particularly those texts wrote by Nalanda Master. So there are, you see, two categories. So now, person from Sakya Monastery, from Nyingma Monastery, from Kagyu Monastery, Gelug Monastery, or Chonam Monastery, who study these basic Buddhist texts, then, you see, there's much less sectarian feeling. The other tradition, only one, the Dhamma or Menga, I don't know that word.
Sacred instruction.
Sacred instruction according individual. Now, those people, yes, Nyingma, they have certain sort of deities, certain things like Bazarkilaya or Hayagyewa or different things. And then Sagyapa, Headbaza, or Kagyu Pangmo and Hiruga, like that. Gelug, I think mainly Gelug tradition is almost like it's a combination of Kagyu tradition and Sakya tradition, like that. So in any way, so those people who just, you see, receive teaching from their own teacher, you see, without much study, all these basic texts, then I think in Tibet, I think several centuries, I think frankly speaking, in Europe, in ancient time, the religious leaders also have some power. They have some political interest. Similarly, in Tibet, in ancient time, the great spiritual leader or great Lama also, you see, showing interest about politics or power. I think, so then the political sort of, when they showing interest about political power, the whole system is feudal system, not democratic system. Yeah. So then, you see, once you see Lama take some political interest, political power, then they also use the religious faith. If you against me, you will go hell. It is unfortunate thing. So therefore, you see, eventually, in order to strengthen their own group, something like the follower of the particular Lama is power basis. Almost, you see, religious thing become political party. So try to strengthen, you see, their own sort of the basis. Then I think, in order to make some distinction, you see, different shape of hat, different color of hat. So then, these days, you see, usually in English book, they say yellow hat sect, red hat sect, black hat sect. And Kambo, they usually get having white hat, so white hat sect, like that. Sometimes I jokingly express, now I may create another sort of color of hat, that is green, so green hat sect. These are very superficial. I think this is due to narrow-minded and lack of knowledge, holistic Buddha Dharma. Clear? What do you think? So if we go original text, no basis of sectarian. So sometimes I really a little bit critical. It's too much emphasis, Lama. I think that's wrong. One great Lama, the disciple of Atisha Dibamkara, Domdaba, his disciple, main disciple, Podowa, like that. Kadam Kujisu, Padam Podowa, Pujungwa, and Chiksuri. Sharamare. Sharam Podo is. So then Podowa, great scholar, great practitioner. So when Domdamba about to die, his head is put on Podowa's lap. Then Podowa naturally he feel very sad. So cry. Some tears is come felt on Domdamba's head, face. And then Domdamba, why you are crying? He said, till now, you are our Guru. So whenever we have some doubt or some difficulties, we always approach to you, ask you. Now you no longer with us. Then to whom we we receive teaching or something like that. Then Podowa mentioned, then Domdamba mentioned, now on, don't rely on human being. Your Guru should be those texts, should be your Guru. That's, I think, very right advice. So then Lamas, I think, unfortunately, in Tibetan sort of tradition, Lama, sometimes you see, without much knowledge, but hold one sort of seed, then consider something holy. But actually, not much knowledge. When I saw that, then I really feel my tutor who used whip, I really appreciate. If they consider me something holy person, Dalai Lama holy, then today I am maybe ignorant Dalai Lama. You see, pay more attention for study out of fear because of that. What's the weep? So therefore, sometimes I really feel the many lamas spoiled, not properly educated. Still, you see, pretended something very holy. I think that's the sort of sign of degenerate Buddha Dharma. Like Nagarjuna, no Larang, no institution, Lama institution. No. Tibet, combined with feudal system, then these sort of Lama institution become something important. Therefore, myself at age 2016, I took the political power. Then 2001, I already appeal we should have elected political leadership. Since then, my position is semi-retired position. Then 2011, I totally retired from political responsibility, from political leadership. Not only myself retired, but also 4-century-old tradition, Dalai Lama Institution automatically become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now that voluntarily, happily, proudly cease. Now, even future Dalai Lama come, no political power. Political power must carry by elected political leadership. Because you see, the Dalai Lama Institution become head of both. It's some connection with feudal system. Now we are democratic sort of. So the democratic system is the, I think, best system, in spite of some drawbacks due to bad politicians. But basically, democratic system is the best system. So, the Lama institution, Dalai Lama institution, is automatically become head. It's outdated. So I voluntarily cease that practice. Clear. So you see, you have to study past history and not not that way, with critical mind, in order to carry investigation. Some skepticism is necessary. Skepticism, you see, brings questions. Question brings serious investigation. Serious investigation brings answer. Just a blind faith. Oh, of course. One day Lama say, this is east. Oh, of course, this is east. Next day Lama say, this is east. Oh, this is east. Foolish. Buddha himself, you see, mentioned, oh my follower, monks, scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. So therefore, like Nagarjuna and the Buddha Palita, or particularly the Chandrakirti, they, through thorough investigation, some Buddha's own text, Buddha's own word, you cannot accept because it goes against reason. So, you see, the Chandrakirtis, you see, Madhyamika Avatara, you see, he mentioned, and commentary, the commentary wrote by himself, you see, mentioned about 10 books, Buddha's own word, mentioned these books we cannot accept literally because it goes against reason. So then, Buddha himself give us freedom, liberty to examine Buddha's own word. So I also took some liberty. The Vasubandhu, the younger brother of Arya Asanga, great scholar, in his writing, Abhidhammakosha Karika, the third chapter mentioned about world cosmology. In this Zambudriva, it's in Zambudriva, Shalwapa Kasa, Europa. Four continents. Our continent is in Zambudriva. So another continent east, another continent north, another continent west. So in the center, Mount Meru. So I publicly rejected. Vasubandhu mentioned world flat, and in the center, Mount Meru, and the sun in this side, Mount Meru here, sun this side, and we enjoy daytime. When the sun goes like that and reach north, then midnight. So he mentioned that. Is quite ignorant. Sometimes I jokingly used to mention when Vasubandhu wrote this Abhidhammakosha Karika, naturally his age quite old, so his eyesight not very good. So when the cloudy day, he looks sun. Oh, sun and the moon, almost same size. Lack of knowledge is distance, these things. So therefore, he mentioned same distance from earth to sun and moon. Then, you see, slightly size of sun is slightly bigger than moon, but basically it's the same, almost same. Basically almost same, and then worst thing is same sort of level, go like that. That's certainly due to lack of knowledge about reality. Fortunately, Buddha never mentioned these things. So 5th century, one Nalanda master, 5th century, he already mentioned world is round. So he didn't sort of rely on Vasubandhu's sort of text like that. So therefore, I publicly sort of mentioned I do not believe the existence of world flat and in the center Mount Meru. I don't believe that. So I think some practitioner, some old practitioner, they were disturbed. You see, they consider something mental, offering mental, or something very important. So when Dalai Lama reject or critical view about that, what to do? Like that. Nowadays, since Buddha himself used to told us in his teaching, should examine something sort of through investigation, something solid sort of the basis, and furthermore experiment, some data, then accept. So we should follow that way. That is real Nalanda tradition's way of approach. Our lamas say, whatever lamas say, you should believe that. I think that due to narrow-minded. Okay. Okay. Do you agree or disagree? Okay. Thank you. Next question.
A very good afternoon, His Holiness. And I'm from the Dark Public School. I have one question, and everything you see around us is impermanent. And I think that our soul is same in our next life as well. So is this soul impermanent, which we call same?
Yes,
Everything is
repeat.
around us is impermanent.
Impermanent, yes.
Impermanent, and if we look, that is our soul impermanent, which we call sin.
Soul.
Soul, which we call sin. Is that impermanent?
Hmm.
Soul, the sexual.
Oh. Look, those trees we can see from here. They are leaves. You see, only 1 year. Autumn fell, then spring, new comes. That does not mean tree. You see, also you see, or say the Kasoda. I mean, no. You see, some leaf you see change, but tree, same tree. That leaf from that tree, you see the substantial cause from the tree. So today's tree, it is continuation from 1 year ago, 10 years ago, even some cases 20, 30, 40 years ago. So continuation. That seed of that tree, you see, come through centuries. And further goes that the tree which we can see, that is a real substance, atomic level, is when whole universe, you see, take place, Big Bang take place. The substantial seed of that tree already there. Even before Big Bang, you see, from previous sort of world, some particles there. So there is no beginning. Aryan Deva mentioned that some sort of, the phenomena which is momentarily changing, they are continuation of substance, no beginning. But there could be end, like that. So similarly, now we call living being or sentient being. You see, beside this body, the experience there, feeling there, pains and pleasure. That is not only physical level, but there is some phenomena. Now, scientists in the past, you see, they only consider mind is our brain. Beside brain, nothing. Now, later part of 20th century, and now this moment now, early part of 21st century, now brain specialists, now they begin to feel, beside this brain, there is another phenomena which affect this brain. Kasa? Saba.
Neuroplasticity.
Ah.
Neuroplasticity.
Neuro. That word I cannot pronounce properly. It's a very, very subtle sort of particle. You see that effect out of some meditation or some training of mind. It actually affects our brain. So they now gradually accept, there is some another phenomena, whatever we call consciousness or mind. This is something actually there. So now here, obviously, in our daily life, the pains and pleasure, physical level, and pains and pleasure in mental level. That's why you see the materialistic life, all the facility for physical comfort there, but not help to reduce mental pain. some my friend, some American, billionaire, very rich. When we become close friend and when we talk, then I notice very unhappy person. So millions of dollars fail to bring inner peace. So now, mental level experience and the physical level experiences. So compare these two. The mental level experiences are much more serious than physical level pain. The reason, obvious. You see, like now these days, the Rio or the international, Olympic game now going on. All many of these are athletes. Oh, you see, they work really too hard, but the physical level, some sort of tiredness, some sort of pain, but mental level try to achieve gold medal. So you see, the mental level, you see, they full of enthusiasm. So that also subdue physical level pains on difficulties. Clear. So other hand, mental level too much worry. The physical level comfort will not subdue. So mental level experience is much serious than physical level experience. So now question of mind. At the time of conception, again, I discussed some scientists. At the time of conception, the mother's egg and also the father's semen, something was very normal, and the condition of the normal, then is it 100% sure under that circumstances meeting semen and egg once it met, the life stopped, life will take place for 100% or not? They say not. Even normal semen, egg joint, not sure whether life started or not. So then this shows there another third factor. Of course, this is those Indian tradition which accept rebirth, life after life. According to Christianity, according to Islam, many world tradition, this very life created by God. So the Jainism, Buddhism, and also many non-Buddhist tradition of India, some accept creator, but at the same time, they have the concept of karma. So life after life goes like that. So as far as Buddhism is concerned, you see, the life after life, what's the real factor which carry, life after life? That's consciousness. Consciousness, there are many different levels. Consciousness, awakening state, why the sensorial consciousness still working. Then dream time, sensorial consciousness no longer working. So another level. Then deep sleep, another level. Then at time of faint, another deeper level. At the time of death, the deepest, the most subtle level of consciousness or mind. So that one of now some scientists, one top scientist, Richard Davidson, past few years, he already started one project to investigate to those individuals who clinically dead, but still body remains very fresh. We should go to them. So, including my own tutor, 13 days remain on that state. Another great fellow, the Lama or Geshe, really Geshe, not Lama, usually called Geshe, or Chisu, Songchen Kasa, Susanwa, Gangsan, talks hard, wonderful. He moved the churches after he retired. Then, when he passed away, his body remained next about 18 days. His body remained fresh. So one great scholar who later used to join Wisconsin University in America. So he also constructed a small monastery. When he passed away, one scientist, top scientist, he personally visited him. And later he told me, he very much was surprised. That body was still very fresh. So he started one project to further investigate. So at Dharamsala, in our clinic, some equipment in order to examine that kind of person who already dead, but still fresh body. So the problem is when that machine available, no one showing that kind of experience. When someone who actually is demonstrate or happen that experience, the machine not available. Since the last few years, the machine opened the gate in Dharamsala. So like that scholar. When I heard after 3 days, his physical remained very fresh, then I sent a message, sent first in that case. And then you see, they started, the doctors or scientists, why what is happening. And then communicate to our top scientists. So they right unusual medications. But brain may feel that because the blood circulation ceases, because the heartbeat stops. Like that. So these are quite mysterious. So that also, as the explanation is, that certain level of consciousness, no beginning, no end. Within Buddhist school of thought, some say there is end, but general Buddhist school of thought say no beginning, no end. Like that. So therefore, you see, when Buddha say no permanent soul, that means some kind of self, something besides body and mind, and something we call soul, or Hindus say Atma. That Buddhists do not accept. Self is there, but simply designated on the combination of body and mind. Body and mind also there are 3 levels. Grosser level of body and mind. More subtle level of body and mind. Very subtle level of body and mind. Now, that very subtle level of body and mind, no beginning, no end. What do you think? Quite complicated.
how can we help to make this place a little better for everyone who lives there, so that no one suffers, no one is murdered or something.
Just this morning, I mentioned, we really, I think, fail to educate our brain. Something usually I call hygiene of emotion, hygiene of physical, which we usually study. And similarly, there should be hygiene of emotion. Not talking about this, not talking about God, Allah, Buddha. Simply, let's say, how to create more happier, more peaceful individual. So, the hygiene of emotion, now you have to study the whole map of emotion. Then we know anger, jealousy, hatred. These emotions are very bad for our health, for our people. Usually, you see, we consider anger is part of our mind. Of course, it's true. But we consider something wrong. And sometimes very useful. If someone takes advantage of you, if you still say compassion, then you will lose. So, when anger comes, yes, confirmation. So, you see, we consider anger is something useful. If you think more wider perspective and long term, then anger, firstly, immediately destroys your wisdom. And constantly, anger develops or keep your physical good. Then, the happiness or joyfulness of your family and community also will not be happy. Anger is system, distrust. Okay. Emotional level, distrust, hatred, jealousy. You also to develop genuine friendship. Friendship entirely depends on trust. Trust depends on take care of them. Then trust. If you keep their anger, jealousy, suspicion, how can you develop trust? Without trust, how can you develop friendship? We are social animals. One individual's existence very much depends on the community. Yeah. So, through awareness, then once we develop total conviction, anger is almost self-destruction. Now we already committed making draft of character about usually we call secular ethics, or in other words, universal value, which cover believer or non-believer. That's important. Now today, about 7 billion human beings, out of 7 billion, who are 1 billion non-believers. These also being brothers and sisters. They also want peace, everything. So we should have certain sort of method or way of approach, irrespective of whether believer or non-believer. So that's, according to Indian Constitution, secular is very good. Respect all religion and also respect non-believer. Dr. Advani, former Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister of India, very close friend of mine. You see, he once told me, according to Indian understanding about secular means, respect also non-believers. very relevant today. That. So therefore, I believe the proper systemic education, and make it clear, and take these are very complex. Once through education, some understanding about that, some conviction about that, then all various different religious traditions really immense help to further strengthening the practice of compassion, forgiveness, tolerance. If you see the person who's supposed to be just believer, but lack of real conviction upon these sort of inner value, then religion also use or become instrument of anger. So yeah, this also you see, just you see use one as you mentioned, one set. You see, use something like your possession. In order to compete or against the. So these are clearly shows lack of conviction about these basic human values. Once you have basic conviction about basic human values, then all religions, you see, immense help to boost their boosting, strengthening, you see, these human values.
여러 번째는 참 그만하는 거지. 이지가 다저비는 거지 상황 같이 가지 같이 거지 이 상황을 비전하는 이 같이 다저비는 거지 뭐가 있나 이 상황을 책임 가지. 이지가 다저비는 거지 상황을
몸으로 그걸 생각하냐? 디지털 지금 알아. 먼저 주세요. 먼저 주세요. 매일 문제지. 이제 이거 뭐구나. 알아? 먼저 주세요. 미리 좀 수준 주지 말이야. 로소 참고하고. 얘는 유지 그게지. 얘는 말을 잘해. 쟤는 워낙 아마 그거 저렇게 사업 그게 지금 이 입술 준비가 음원도 좀 왔어야 돼. 음원도 성공을 좀 이게 필요 없어. 너무 좋습니다. 그래서 너무 많이 저러라고 했는데 이거 어떻게 해야 될지 그래서 잘 풀리는 거예요. 난 어때? 그래서 제일 순간이야. 내가 지금 상황이야. 신인들 속에서도 그냥 뭐래? 대신 계신이 있으니, 대신 뭐는 있으니, 대신 싫은데 주시 완성제. 대신 위시 만사 대화상으로 보여줄 최고 이거 한번 적어서. 예를 들어 투를 줘. 이게 줘. 이걸 줘. 이게 뭐? 나는 제가 그 영화다. 나는 그 말씀인데 그 실수. 지세대 공 지수까지. 제가 너무 내용을 한번 줘요. 한den지 아래 기계인지 처럼만 되는 아니 진세대 공 쇼는肯定不说嘛，是吧？지수까지 주면肯定不说错。这个认识呀，老是给看了那些，俺的一些有的人，那个搞过来，我说嘛，其实你现在你就完全年轻的是，人家骗子多，现在来说呢，这种感觉骗子多，给那些人年纪送出来了，还是说年纪就是送出来了嘛？后来就把送来的，有人在这年纪，有人在这边呢。年不给嘛，我来吃不多，多少是吧？是吧？台湾人 差。但是你看可以，现在的上岸是拿到的呀，哎，我的出去去了，啊，上岸是开车的出去去了，你那边是。有钱的那边就离开不行差，那这个上导致了问题，或者哪里这个多的些什么，哪里开心记兄弟，那边参与现在给我写我也写我写作，送起来参与第一场子，这个第一就。那个第一就是这个唱这个，另外一个都是有条件，他那个我是两种不同的，早个工业的那么一个三年测试做，这种往西苏州给人往西成完的两种不同的工业那么一好像测，但今天的西下来，但那个我呢调了一个。上了或者这个去年的经验，往前的罗马人，好像苏联老在看见往下，写的下来他，那个罗马人一场不得去，有的推进的倡议用的，我那在那边前头看的，生活的在用的这个强我这。차기 상대의 지원서를 얻어 이 지역이야 지속거를 막는 것을 가능하시.
Sempre quando mi fanno vedere e sempre passare quindi
조직 협의회는 일곱 군도 싸고 제출해야 돼. 상황 사면 중간 소매는 용어 지지를 해서 해야 돼. 창신 토지를 창신하는 소매는 시 자기 정보사 무슨 용어 지지를 해서 되는데 명고 로지 상호도 라포를 세분하는 거는 처음에 연습이요. 这里就是甚至有的时候，甚至有的时候，如果我送起来，我多的那有个送起来，这肯定我那个，这种，当然也得办的，后面这里工作上不认识，后面工作上不是，商业原因是。 这个呢，就是你用这些啊做，然后我们商业东西，那你个商业的生产开发型下来，这个东西，现在后面工作上我是种起来的，然后我们写个第一题，行业行业下来，因为这些。 农业是第一个对人很多时候是遇到特殊的，重新设计成新的西南地区，如果是在西地区，如果是在西地区，上面设计成了因为是这个在的，南京到春节然后我是第一线，生气都差，甚至然后。 是不长，上流是我们一直往工具上当，当然，甚至西当当，然后这些一步是送起来的，好的，这些一步上单地了，这个我到有什么呀？我的这个把我的身体吹的，越来越什么样的？什么把我的身体吹的？ 原来的啊，原来这个记忆就是， 라면 주는 거 이거 말이지. 이 지유라는 말이야. 그리고 교육진 송시하기. 쌀 공부해서 라면 그 송시하기. 그러면 그냥 시계를 그리고 나는 지금 송해야 돼. 서로 당고, 서로 바로, 서로 타면, 서로 타면 말이야. 지금 너희 공제도 당근도 마셔야 돼. 유난히 시행자는 너, 왜냐면 22인분도 써야지. 딱된 인분들은 어디 말이지. 디시고 유난히 시행자는 거지. 뭐든 이 어머나 라고하지는 순시하지. 저는 공간 지금 교수는 서로 당근 대시 얘네야 서로 관계 독립 유지를 대해서 얘네 서로 타면 그거는 유지를 대해서 되게 많아요. 내가 대해서 맞으면 약간 라시게요. 아예 같이 서로 들어가죠. 그러나 이거는 이제 보고 싶다. 그냥 또 무슨 우리 집에 원래 유난에 그래서 뭐 소유는 근데 유난은 지금 뭐 원토 그래서 이 잡아요. 유난은 그 무슨 중심 수요가 많아도 이것을 이제 그래서 만들 말라니 그래서 만들 수 있어요. 제가 그래서 많다. 그래서 그런 차이가 벌써 동물들은 대부분에 내용을 봐야지. 유도에这个首先，方式就是查虚，上等的虚人应当和上人马上对，首先目标，查询有查询的，各有查询，上那几个的，往第上等的，啥些山东属于，啥些哪些往前面靠，接着有嘛应当是对的。 저는 철학상 대표에서 그래. 세부에 이제 마르고에 가고에 오늘 중디디 소수의 양면체 중디디 패션 공동체 인사는 이 성공 호구 기산지 로지가 설하시고 저는 대중사 최경이 소소 민도 방향 예를 우리 마켓이 양문적인 내적을 자랑 것을 더 송시하지 또 장장 공체를 매다운 말이에요. 라미 이제 매다운 그래서 해지기 대단히 순위 실수는 하나 더 배치반대 이시 이게 공복이야 창신 수준인데 창신 수준을 그거야. 자, 어쨌든 보세요. 책임도들 배치반대 이시 배치부모 배치사주의 슈거는 뭐죠? 배치사주의 슈여는 끊이슈가 주스. 이하고 거의 같은데다 내가 들어지. 그거 영식이 나왔어요. 근데 손 그러니 나를 지는 배치반대 이시리야. 제가 마치를 다 했어요. 그래서 이 주주 때문에 무슨 거다. 또 때문에 그거야. 내가 그거 개정시켜야 됐어. 또 권대적으로 끝나가는 게 나서도 권대적으로 내가 개정했어. 됐습니다. 그러면서 대저기 나를 다시는 사실은 남체를 분이 보면 남미 분이 보면 도와 어떤 남체를 분이 보면 되게 그냥 러세기 그냥 또 됐네. 러세 대가야 쓸 중요도 상소 뭐는 다니까 이거 상대를 상담하는 많이 맞죠. 그래서 이거 상대 나오는데 두 번도 이시를 하네. 내가 아주 저를 지금 수요래. 리식 독립을 공부할 때, 가서 대신 공부하셔야지. 저는 그것을 정말 그런 대상 어때? 라운드 수면 수요가 상마야 저처럼 말이 그냥 서로 가고 그래서 것이 독립 공부 찍고 개척자들이 정말 하면 독립 공부로 루루를 뭐 될때 유명해서 철도체 제일 돈이 먹어주면 시중용 디자인이야. 라고를 쓰는 돈이 커서 보고 있는 시중용 제도예요. 그래서 가서 이就是지수된 영국 초벌 칠, 유수된 유신 초벌 칠, 시중 중간만 늘는 군대만에 두 사람 비와 그거 그래서 이제 내가 나가기 중성 유효 시체 제가 아주 좀 주민들이 좀 빼야고요. 그게 나스죠. 하늘 이런 거기 그 수로서 하늘 그我谈到在我谈到的是去就是제일 좋은 능신이 공인으로 시켜요. 그래서 중사带着哎，我那带到这边的到时候带一个，是吧？兄弟干干好，给我搞想想呢，这个兄弟要是这个空气上来了说起，这些兄弟的。他如果说，所以有些家庭这代人就是说，知道的人，这是是吧？所以有些以前用这样的数据呢，你发现你民说的必须讲嘛的，在看人家的这样这个兄弟是做的多，你开住送的，结束送拿了，结束送的，没这么全部用给说去，但早都是的，结束些，俺都考虑开始的。예술지다 기루지 쌍바로 제사가 나도 보여주지 버리 젊지 총서전에 나께서도 모두 대지 다른 일을 찍었지 그래서 나 암두시 것도 저거다 그래서 어제 이 등이 향수다 기도 몽고여서 슝 몽고 시과의 개성 사례샤 그래서 근데 있는 게 리미 시대에 리미스는 청동령도 전에 룩 대수천에 봐도 공단을 좀 송여 봐. 령룩 대수여 봐. 기시 안선 송여 봐. 어떤 대신 소송년 제서 길고시 이비는 제서 그 송디디 고땡네 그게 땡수고 지체. 아니 때는 저 사격건이 사격거기 님한테 리스 맞이 캐왕기 아니 숨도서 땡. 애나다 도 삼당 kundulamın için aslında kundulamın için kundulamın için da 쟤는 공부치도 벌써야지 아니 차진 수요래스 내도 롱리 라케싱스 롱리를 캐봤음도 마세베 냠뇽젠스 또 텐저직 스타요나 참으로 쟤는 공부치도 벌써 숨셔야지 뭐냐래도 봐 산다데 마야도 저어 소소 그즈도 저어 자, 디레 인도 슝대기 녀도 데리. 남내 슝대 땡기요래. 내 슝대 땜 배정들어. 내 님의 배절이야. 라고 찬 초고 말해. 죄송아. 내 슝대 자살에 제가 나 징주 타버려. 에디 자오진 최 시위인, 사제 최 시위인, 거기 최 시위인. 그런데 전에 케빈 시우도 나는 시우지 패스. 죄송아.
I have a question for you. So in Buddhism, there are 5 precepts which are very important for us to follow. My question for you is that how do you follow these precepts in your life? Is it difficult for you to follow these precepts?
그래서 여보세요, 그래.
Is it difficult for you to follow Sultimna?
그래, 가오.
5 precepts.
가, 빠지시라. Panchashila, that is not only monk, but also lay people should practice that.
Yeah, but you are a special person, so I'm asking you, is it really difficult for you, or is it easy for you to follow these precepts?
Me, as a Buddhist monk, my sort of daily life, 253 precepts I have to follow. What do you think? Too much? Then, as a person who also practice of infinite love, infinite altruism, 청주 기생, infinite sort of infinite altruism combined with wisdom. That is we call 청주 기생, bodhicitta. I practice that daily. Immense help is to keep inner strength. With practice of that, my daily prayer is so long space remain, so long sentient beings suffering remain, I will remain in order to serve. That prayer really gives me inner strength, determination. Not just one life, or 100 life, million life, or billion life. No. So long space remain, so long sentient beings remain there, I will remain in order to serve them. That really, see, as a immense help to develop determination. Then, one lifetime, some problems here and there are minor. Once you determined, till space remain, you try to help serve other people. So then, one lifetime, very short, about 100, maximum about 100. Now, almost 82 years passed. Now, remaining 20 years, not much problem. Then another thing is the concept of shunyata. It's real, almost like nuclear weapon to attack destructive emotion. I think that when my main teaching, you see, because of the carried, I think I may explain these things. So, 동이 나와도 시부지도 봐. 시부지 개시 버리셔. 자오시로 나와야 레던이 뭐 세배 탈. 레던이 뭐 남도래. 대다 쨘래. 쨘번에 동번이 지가 번 요르시 순샤하게. 취미 이식 남도 되게 녀무지기 여거디 체직배 시에도. 고불도 세우실 수요. 된저기 취미 이식 남도 지야 그 사와데 된지기 쨘발에 중앙에. 다음에도 그 시를 그 된지기 쨘발이야 또 그게 구조로 태이두산에 취미 이식 남도 지야디 쇼송도 돼야지. 대를 때는 차단 용도 돼야지. 시라세 버리죠. But must be careful. So therefore, my main practice is main source of my inner strength, main source of sort of peaceful mind is two things: infinite altruism, and then understanding of emptiness. So emptiness not easy, shunyata not easy. According to my own experience, say last almost 60 years, I developed interest. Then think, study. Even today, each morning, as soon as I wake up, thinking infinite altruism and understanding about shunyata. And then beside that, some sort of the Guru Yoga or some other deity yogas also there. All these practice, basis of all this practice is understanding of shunyata. What do you think of shunyata? Emptiness. So, like that. Then, altruism. Altruism is concerned, all major religious of tradition is talking that. Wonderful. Then shunyata is something unique about Buddhist tradition. Shunyata, the proper understanding about shunyata, we have to study Madhyamika Prasankika philosophy text. Very important. Mainly Nagarjuna. So sometimes I describe and also I feel I am a student of Nagarjuna. Like that. So Nagarjuna and those Nalanda master, I usually describe these masters is actually professors of Nalanda Institution. And also, you see, these we can consider as a scientist. Investigate and investigate. Never follow blind faith. Okay. Next question? Yes.
위기 구조 더미믹다 국빈님 주로 공사계 묻힌 초라스 구조 유물 주시네스 무딘스 베마 이슈스 라다 비군도 투네스 좋아지 비군 베스 데니스 세딜 다조디 류신 톱나스 세딜 다조디 류신 톱나스 다다 지도나 옹위기 옹위비주 리모 부시 용시 이게 강신은 예.
공부전쟁 가져오자. 공부전쟁 가져오자. 가.
공부전쟁이 왔는데
그래도 공부전쟁 슬슬다 단적이 밀류 차상화시 매배 sor지. 봐. 다 학월도 있지. 이왕을 또 견여져서 들체디. 다 답적으로 주지. 딱지. 산제비 지르자가게 미 너르고 주고 나라라 karma 사이스도 봐. 그 루블 좀 말이. 그 주디 견해는 좀 말이. 대자 도서디 점된대기 동행이 주 군중선에 레지 군중다 영업의 군중스 수고도 봐. 다 레지 군중 나라라야 미기주 샹 차와체 샹 차도체 샹 낙슨 내슨 근데 제가 있나 아니 디 제부디 라나야 지금 세통하다 지 원부견전다 인제야지 용되기도 봐. 다들 책이게 지금 최대하고 뭐 좋아다 지금 화면에 있는 지금 최대团에 지금 평양 친구들이 때내 연구를 죄송합니다. 조조 아니 보고 소소도 생명에 내다 저여도 또 세르쳐 봐. 좋아. 시디디 규미 게임에 서고 주네 하장 타워 봐. 유진지 샤고 주는 치 유진 지고 샤고 주네 렌 차상신 내가 소르지. 다 치게 난기교 디니 돈에만 저해견을 좋아하시도 봐. 산제베 주도단. 들으시샤? 애니 공부전쟁 지라고 찌기 게시하면 이너네 애니 탐지 첨부 코네 주유리 맞으셔야 돼요
Okay, Your Holiness, my question is that nowadays and in the past, many of our young brother and sister Tibetans, 75-year rapper country freedom, like Bernie Nelson, and then recently in Dehradun, in Suja, one of our youngest brother did that. So it is not only solutions, and or there is another way that we can do for him. And because of you, the Buddhism is flourishing.
랑루 메시지
So,
랑루 메시지 나야 줘. 랑루 메시지 예자랑 데라도 비스탐 리스크 그렇지. 제가 띵 아주 그냥 데라세 한번 비치고를 베스.
No. Such sad sort of event, first time you see happened. I met one BBC correspondent. He asked me this. Then I expressed, of course, it is very sad event. But it is questionable how much effect from such drastic action. I express. So still I feel that. Tibetan issue, not easy. I think we can't blame everything to Chinese communists. But our own case, I think the last several centuries, and particularly recent decades, we ourselves neglected. So sometimes I used to be mentioning, we Tibetan, cold sort of snowland, so everybody remain like that. So what really happened in the world? I think one example I can tell you, 13th Dalai Lama. Firstly, he escaped to China and Mongolia because of British expeditionary sort of forces. Then he returned. Then within short period, the Chinese invasion came. So he escaped to India. So then, I think 1912, around I think 12, he returned. Then 1913, he sent a few Tibetan young officials sent to England. Rabbi School in England. Recently, I met some student from that city school about, I think, their anniversary or something. So, after they returned, no continuously sending student to England because of some sort of resistance from mainly monasteries. They have the impression, oh, English, England, or English, not good. So sending students to England for study English is very harmful for Buddha Dharma. Due to narrow-mindedness, short-sightedness, like that. So then, Third Dalai Lama tried to send students to India for study. Then gradually he set up one sort of school, I think in Yangtze. So in any way, you see, I mean, his original sort of plan failed. Then also, you see, he tried to bring all the many sons of small sort of rajas in Amdo area. You see, he wanted to bring to Lhasa and give them education, but that also failed. So therefore, I think the real, mistake Tibetan themselves, I think out of lack of knowledge, or some narrow-minded, short-sighted. And in this case, I think some religious belief also, you see, some obstacle, become some obstacle. You see, they are not practical, realistic, like that. So therefore, and then also, you see, the people of China. In early part of Marxism, as far as economy, social economy theory is concerned, I'm Marxist. 1954, I went to Peking, and next few months, I remained in Peking. I met several times Chairman Mao Zedong. Oh, wonderful person, great revolutionary. Then, since then, I learned Marxism. I really admire Marxist economy. Marxist economy, you see, emphasis equal distribution, whereas capitalism not mention that. Just making money, that. Socialism, on the basis of Marxism, I think really take serious concern about the well-being of working class people. Working class people are majority, and needy people, so serious concern about their right. And also, you see, the concern about the working class people, not just one country, international level. Entire world's working class people's right. The Marxism actually fighting for that. However, Leninism, I think Russia. And Leninism during Bolshevik, you see, that sort of Marxist concept, then, you see, when he implement the situation is wartime. So wartime, certain sort of policy or certain sort of practice is tight control, censorship, and then a little bit sort of what's the ruthless. It's during wartime, it is relevant. So Lenin, Bolshevik revolution, then during wartime developed. So then the wartime mentality, certain practice, then combine. So unfortunately, Marxism or communist, you see, during the wartime mentality become part of that. So I consider Lenin spoiled genuine, pure concept of Karl Marx. So therefore, you see, at that time, I really, you see, admire those genuine, dedicated Chinese Communist Party member are wonderful. Then, mid-50s, power spoiled them. At that time, no sort of, I think, cases of corruption. Wonderful. All those party members, truly dedicated. So at that time, I asked the Chinese Communist Party, sort of some concerned official, I want to join Chinese Communist Party. So then they say, oh, wait. So in any way, like that. So therefore, the kind of leadership was correct. The correct shape was so the original Chinese communist, I think quite pure, quite good. But then gradually power spoiled them, particularly around 1956, 57. Then meantime, you see their practice inside Tibet then become more ruthless. Do not consider the local condition. That 1956, then revolt started in Tibet. Firstly, eastern part of Tibet, Kham area. Then 57, the Amdo area. Then 58, 59, the whole Tibet. Then 59, March, things become out of control. Then I escaped. 56, I came to India. I discussed very seriously about Pandit Nehru. And he advised me better to return and try to fight, you see, your own right within Tibet. I returned. 1956, I think September, I came to India, Buddha Jayanti celebration. Then, beginning, I think February 57, I returned. I try my best according to Pandit Nehru's advice, then failed. You see, then some of these Chinese communists, you see, because of censorship, they do not know the reality. So too much brainwash. So difficult to deal with such people. So even now today, also you see, one of the source of Chinese problem is censorship. They do not, many Chinese I met in America or Australia or Japan, you see, when they met me, they, you see, told me when they were in China, they got the impression Dalai Lama, an old person and very orthodox, very narrow-minded. anti-revolutionary like that. When they reach America or some other sort of free country, gradually you see, they learned about the reality. Tibet also is a very rich cultural heritage. And the Chinese media say, oh, Tibet, very backward. So from feudalistic, very backward. So the communists had to liberate Tibet. So originally, those Chinese, some officials truly believed that. When Chinese Liberation Army first time reached Chamdo, I know Wang Qimi. I know very well him. You see, when he met Tibetan, he cried due to British imperialists now fighting between the two brothers, Han brother, Tibetan brothers. So actually crying. Like that. So all this, you see, I think mistake is the censorship, one-sided information, and that distorted. So therefore, I often is telling when I met Chinese, 1.3 billion Chinese people have every right to know the reality. Once 1.3 billion Chinese knows the reality, they also have the ability to judge what is right, what is wrong. So censorship is totally wrong. Chinese should let Chinese people learn what is reality. Once the Chinese knows about the reality of Tibetan case, we are not seeking independence. We are thinking very much sort of admire, with admiration about spirit of European Union. Once was my, not only my friend, but also my tutor about quantum physics, one German professor, now no longer, the von Weizsäcker, one of former German chancellors or presidents, the brother, wonderful person. So in 1990s, his age also, then I think nearly 90, very old. Once he told me, when he was young, every German eye, the French is their enemy. Similarly, in eyes of French, German is their enemy. But that kind of sort of attitude completely changed. That's 1990s, he told me. Now French, German, is a very close sort of friend. So on that basis, even Franco-German unified forces also, you see, created. Now what happened, I don't know. So at that time, it's like that. So I really admire the spirit of European Union. So common interest is more important than individual interest. So on that basis, you see, they develop European Union. Now some Englishmen now thinking some different way. I don't know. So wait. So therefore, once I open my mouth, and then bala 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 bala, go continuously. So in now little shorter. So therefore, we are not seeking independence. We are fully committed, remain within the People's Republic of China. At the same time, the Chinese government must recognize Tibetan unique cultural heritage, including Tibetan script, and then equal. Okay. And now today in China proper, around 400 millions of Buddhist population. Many of these Chinese Buddhists really showing interest about Tibetan Buddhism. Now they recognize Tibetan Buddhism is truly pure lineage of Nalanda tradition. So originally Chinese Buddhism also is the same lineage. Nagarjuna, Lungsu Pusa, same teacher, like that. So Therefore, let us live together. And as I say, on the basis of mutual understanding, mutual respect, okay. And I always see feel or have the view, and also see expressing. Now, spirit of European Union now should extend African Union. Instead of small country fighting, civil war, self-destruction. No use. Originally, some time back, concept of Pan-Africa. That must revive. Recently, I saw BBC, concept of one world. That we need. That will need. So, firstly, Africa, some kind of union of Africa. Then Latin America. Then the European Union eventually should include Russia. Many occasions I express, the NATO headquarters should shift to Moscow. Then emotionally, mentally, the millions of Russians then feel, we are union, we are safe. Otherwise, during Cold War time, Cold War, is a certain sort of brainwash. When I was in Moscow, 1979, I noticed, the mentality of Russian, Western is ready to attack Russia. Then Soviet Union, of course, 1979. Then, one occasion, some Russian media I met, so they tried to put the peace-loving nation, this word, in my mouth. I refuse. So one of the media, Russian media, Soviet media correspondent, become angry. Because I know already, because 1973, I visited European Union, Western Europe. So in the West, they have no sort of desire or thinking attack Russia, attack Soviet Union. They are very much afraid about the Warsaw Pact. So I know, the Western Europe, no sort of desire to attack Russia. But in Russia, through their propaganda, some kind of mission, brainwash, Russian psychology, West is something, they are sort of negative thing. This must change. I often telling in the telling in the West, after collapse of Soviet Union, during Yeltsin's time, I think best opportunity that lost by Western world. At that time, rush to help Russia, something like New Russia, education, technology, and health, these fields. And then I think today, different situation, but that neglected by Western nations. I really feel. So therefore, the Tibet issue is not easy. Once from time to time, we are meeting some Chinese scholars, mainly because Brookings Institute in Washington. So from time to time, we met, discuss. So one Chinese scholar, he little bit of negative expression, his face. Is it the Tibetan problem? Is he create some problem to the Chinese like that? Then I explained through decades experiences, destruction. Even late Panchen Lama, just before his death, he publicly mentioned, since liberation come, there are some positive sort of construction or development there. But meantime, immense destruction. That amount of destruction, you see, cannot match by positive constructive sort of development. He mentioned publicly. So, according also to, because some also also the assessment, since the so-called liberation, you see, take place, now around a million Tibetan died. So, it is not easy. So just, what's it is, I really admire, you see, the determination of these people. Now, I think 140 or something, over 140 eliminations, self-elimination. I really admire their determination. And another thing, if such people really willing to sacrifice their own life, certainly they can do some harmful because of explosion or harming other people. But they never committed that, just self-burning like that. So that also according to non-violent principle. Like that. Yes.
I have seen other sense
Sound. Oh, yes.
So I have been overseas of the Dalai Lama. So I have one simple question that sometimes we become more anger. At that time, how we tolerance it and how we overcome what the method of overcome the tolerance is.
That's right. So,
So sometimes and when we become more anger.
Oh,
at that
anger.
time, how we tolerance it and what the method of overcome the tolerance.
long not that good. Oh. Yes, I think by nature, anger also part of our emotion. So my parent, my mother, very, very compassionate. I think we, her children, you see, I think almost never saw my mother's angry face. But my father, very short temper. So I don't like my father. So that is part of our sort of emotion, part of our nature. But utilize human intelligence, as I already mentioned. What is the usefulness about anger? Then particularly with this robe, you see, we committed. We follow Buddha's teaching. That is very much based on compassion, karuna. So when you, some irritation about to come, then remember yourself, oh, I'm a follower of Buddha. So his main teaching is based on karuna and eventually Mahakaruna. Firstly, use common sense. What is the use about anger? As I already mentioned. And then second level, I'm Buddhist, I'm a follower of Buddha. So I must, you see, follow as much as possible Buddha's teaching of non-violence, teaching of Mahakaruna. Okay. Then still you feel angry, then hit your own hand. Yes.
My question is, as I have heard that there is no differences between Muslim and Buddhist. So the taking a life of a species is considered a sin in Buddhism. But as a Muslim, we have Qurban both during the occasion of Eid. So why is there differences between this?
Kasa.
As I'm a Muslim, and I have heard that Muslim and Buddhism are same, but taking a life of a species is considered a sin in Buddhism. But as in Muslim, we qurban our goat on the occasion of Eid, and it is not considered a sin. So why is there differences in the religion?
Kasa. Oh. 네. I think the another last 지난주에 저 조르지에 저 조르지에 오 안디 메롱 소냐자 직시 유전에 sometimes so that I think mainly you see concept of creator so all the sort of what's the existence whole world created by Allah by God. So these animals actually I think created by God for human beings. So I think that viewpoint, which is sacrifice animal, is actually some form of offering, right, to gratitude to Allah or to God. Right. Some Hindus, I think also uses some sort of practice that, but generally I think Hinduism very much committed ahimsa. Then, as far as Buddhist is concerned, all sentient being, you see, same sort of right, be happy, should not harm. So, I think the Chinese Buddhist, very, very strict vegetarian. Vegetarianism is wonderful. And we Tibetan, I think geographically, in the past, I think we have some excuse. So, northern plateau of Tibet, no vegetation, only grass. So, their life is very much depend on animal, milk, cheese, butter, then occasionally including their meat. But then in India, I think vegetable, fruit available. So now time comes. We have to think seriously about vegetarianism. So therefore, Tibetan settlement in India, right from the beginning, we do not accept fishery, pickery. Some poultry there. They told me for egg. Then I asked them, one hen, little bit sort of getting older, then no longer any egg. Then what you are handling? They remain silent. So then I told them, economically, if the poultry is something very important, then I have nothing to say. If not, poultry also should close. So nowadays, last several years, you see, all our settlement, pickery or fishery or poultry, none. Then there are monasteries. They are common kitchen, now purely vegetarian. We stop serving non-vegetarian food. And then some of our school in India, plain, also now no longer serving non-vegetarian food. Then also outside world, wherever is Buddhist centers, Tibetan Buddhist centers there, I always appealing them, you see, individual up to individual, but some festivals or something that should serve vegetarian food, like that. So I myself, 1960, I think 65, I determined, you see, I no longer eating meat, because I was vegetarian. Then about 20 months, I remained strict vegetarian. So during that period, according to some of my Indian friends' advice, I took a lot of nuts, a lot of butter and milk. Then after about 20 months, you see, there was a gallbladder, jaundice, you see, developed. And the whole my body become yellow. My nails, these also become yellow. So later I expressed jokingly, at that time I become truly living Buddha. Not through spiritual practice, but through illness. So then, according to the Tibetan physician as well as allopathic physician, they advised me now better to carry the previous, the style of meat diets. So then, occasionally I took meat, non-vegetarian food, but according to our principle, we never ask, I want non-vegetarian food. Whatever they serve, you should accept. That's one. Many years ago, I think perhaps at the 60s or 70s, very early, you see, one Sri Lankan monk I met, and we discussed about the non-vegetarian food. Then he told me, Buddhist monk, neither vegetarian nor non-vegetarian. Because monk himself has no right to demand, I want this kind of food or that kind of food. Whatever they get, carrying, you see, the begging bowl, whatever they get, they should accept. You have no right to demand vegetarian food or non-vegetarian food. So he mentioned that. I think that's the traditional way. Buddha himself, you see, carrying the begging bowl, and with arahat or some monk, go that way. So that tradition still very much sort of alive in Thailand. I have been in Thailand with a few occasions. One time I also joined the midday meal. I also joined with the Thai monk without shoe. So the Bangkok very hot, and langa sada t-shirt. Oh, street is that black or say. You see, due to sun, very hot. So without my shoe, I really suffer my feet. Too much hot. And then I also join with the monk and go and receive different food, including some non-vegetarian food. Then we reach our monastery and sit together and enjoy a meal like that. So I think we Buddhists, according to your own physical condition, okay, then I think you should try to maintain vegetarian. And you have physical illness or something, or meat available, then okay, all right, okay. Like that. Now last question. No. Last question, yes.
This is not any lama hindi any dejo kami hindi tahu. Lama hindi dejo kami hindi tahu.
그래서 다 좋아나 좋아도 이니 하마인 할파 그래서 뒤브리 그래서
이당나라 두사.
아
가셔라벨 이당나라 두사.
하마인데 뭐 아니 가르러로 그래 냐다 아주 저물리 레레체 저물사 홀워 레레체 아니 르르 세지 리든 과체 예체 아니 르르 펑름시나 진디나로 계신 집시체 아니 데드 첩지 디엔유도 하마인체 아니 르르 zel야 아니 숨주서 숨다 되는 하조체 아니 좀좀이야 하마인게 해 아니 벤조로 마스거신 차도 제진 증거였어. 아니 이놈아 아니 하이 공부 대신기 가서 랑고지 살아라다 상말에 랑고지 살아라다 게 너고도 스톱 아 리지잖아. 이놈 하마이 먹고 시거를 쳐래. 나 샤이지메다. 이놈 하마이 가지 연애매 나도 안 미디 개심도 봐. 이놈 하마이 할야 마게 그는다. 와다 마게 그는다. 판게 있는다. 땡간수 주도 말이 책임에도 나라도 전문의 대강이 미통주 등주제도 이리 참고 줘라잖아. 그봐? 아니 등주제도 착하게면도 싫은 남자기 싫어요 말이. 가게 잠도. 난 너무 싶대 아마도. 그래서 아버가 아메리카 명강이야. 대대잖아요. 응? 나도서 대변부를 줘래. 아니 미기 대 샤하셔도 이제 아니 샤디데 대체 심심히 줬어. 다 탄저 사야 시부상 코스 다 뒤에 탄저가 밀을 내가 인도산에 다 당상 계셔있는 밀 내가 요 말에 가게 잠도 봐. 다 대원 대원이 찍거래. 동네면 대원이 찍거래. 다 닝지 곰 대마도 가게 잠. 아니 너네 사무실에 다 저번에 네가 수학자 해서 장이 밀는 거 좋아해. 다 뒤에다가 아주 밀는 때에 마도 계시하니 요 말에 로든 전에 가게 요 말에 자신이 깨요. 다 저자서 이거지 정불이 디강이 미 통주 뒤주지도 다 뒤를 저자서. 이 미래가 요 인도산에 직계시 셔나. 즉 거다 쳐야 여더시 저바다. 자 딘데 인도산에 아주 생산 탐지에서 싸움했던 거 요래. 너는 되게 요래데 뭐서 라링 터네 팬도 쳤지. 아니 동순지 동집이 지대기 하면서 갤럭시 탑에 찍었다. 강결롱이 처음 얘기는 동순지 동집이 지대기 하면 숨겨야래. 다 뒤나네. 저 여부터 나는 정말 뒤마도 못 봐. 정말 뒤나네 미디도 마도 현다 뒤도 시작하게 못 봐. 다 진짜지 나는 지 맛이 되고 미신 것도 해야 돼. 다 뒤에 에 진짜게 민남주시 여대버디 묘몽의 상황을 따니 에 차당 초리 랑제 샴밤 전두 연구 되듯이 지산에 다들 미술도 다 간자 지라서 말이지. 어디래? 세상 어디래 인도? 넌 가만히 있는 지도시라네. 도시 씨. So, yeah, so my talk, not just mere stories, telling some story. No, this is something. You see, I'm telling you more seriously. So therefore, you as an audience or listener, also you see, please think more seriously. Which point which I mentioned. After sort of seriously thinking or thought, and then these points is not much relevant, and then no problem. Whatever you like, you can do. But if you feel the point which I mentioned is something relevant or today's world and individual also, then please think more seriously and try to implement. Thank you. Then our talk become sort of meaningful. Otherwise, just talking some stories or like that. Okay, thank you.